22
out of 65 in the Power 5, or out of 69 it is now in the Power 5 with the other teams coming on board in the Big 12.
Can you scroll up? Let me see that. Let me see your top 10.
All right, here we go from the top.
Yeah, I'm not saying Mike's top 10, by the way. I just want to see who we have in.
And this is not a resume ranking like you know your whole resume for your career. This is what I think right this second. And you got to take the resume into account. Obviously, if a dude has one bad season, you don't just knock him all the way down the rungs.
I'm putting, at least from what Mike Norvell, I always think of PJ Fleck because that was also a name that was brought up and being hired at FSU. I think Mike Norvell battles PJ Fleck pretty heavily there, at least in my opinion. I mean, great coach. I mean, they're both great coaches. I think just from what, I guess it depends too on what situations, and I know you're not looking so crazily deep into it, but just the situations that each of these players.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to look crazy deep into it because this is probably the toughest sport to rank coaches because they have such different levels of facilities, resources, money, recruiting opportunities. You know, you're trying to recruit players to Minnesota. They don't have any players up there.
If you got up at 22, right?
Yeah.
You'll scroll down a little bit more on that.
Yeah, it's got a page break that kills us there.
But that's
if it's
so. I got 7. I would put them at top 15. I have 7 coaches that you have ranked ahead of them without even seeing who 21 is.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. I have 8 coaches that you have ranked ahead of them.
Yep.
So I guess I'll put them at 14. You know, I would rank James Franklin. Arguably, I would rank him higher. But he hasn't won a natty. Kyle Whittingham, I think you have him. I'll give him that kind of those props considering he's at Utah. And you know, it's not like as I just joked about on my show with Shaq and Charles Barkley talking about Salt Lake, like how boring it is. Like those people should automatically go to heaven for just having to live there. But I look at like Mark Stoops. All things being considered, Mark Stoops he has SEC money, everything that's there for him, and he hasn't done anything there. Mac Brown finally turned the corner, and Mike Brown one thing he's consistently done is lose to Mike Norvell, even at his worst. I give you Brian Kelly for beating Nick Saban, but I think that beating a number 5 coach should probably bump you up a couple spots too. So I would say Mike is top 15, based upon just what this list of who you have in front of him. But other than that, I mean, and it was somebody else up there. I think Sonny Dykes should probably be a little bit higher, considering what he just did with TCU. Could be an aberration, could not. And then Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin is the king of starting off having the spark when he starts, but then it falls into garbage. And I just don't understand how he's so good at Ole Miss for like so many consecutive weeks, and then it just tapers off. But,
out of nowhere. Yeah, I'd put him in 10 to 15 rank, at least off of yours right here, Mark. I mean, I'm putting him around that PJ Fleck type area. Same for Sam Pittman too. I think it's in that area range.
Okay. I think you guys do understand that it's almost like ranking teams during the season. You get to about 10 or 15, and that Lane Kiffin at 10. Actually, when I produced the video, I dropped him to 14. But anyway, you get to that 12 to 15 range, and you can go from about 12 to about 35 or 40, and there's about that much space between them. Like it's
not easy. That's why you do this and we don't do this. We just focus on one coach, one team, one quarterback, but you're over here dialing in on all this.
There's only one person who I think does list Twitter. And the crazy thing is, Mark, you're doing that from the genuineness of your heart and the love of the game. You're not like my guy, Big Game Boomer, who he's the king of the list and he has this thing figured out. He knows if I'm gonna put somebody in here and it's gonna ruffle some feathers, it's gonna get traction and retweets.
Oh yeah.
And I just looked at his follower count when he first came on the scene.
Yeah.
I just remember it being like last time I looked, it was like 5,000. This guy's got like 45,000 followers now.
I know.
I was like, it's great.
I've had him on a few times, and yeah, he knows just to make it legitimate enough, but to poke some fan bases. See, mine's authentic. Mine's just, I say this all the time when people either accuse me of like trying to please everybody, or some people like, oh, you're just trying to piss somebody off there. I'm like, I'm doing neither. So sometimes it's like really boring because it's like, yeah, I'm not going to make anybody mad, but if that's what I think it is, then that's what I think it is. And then other times I'll piss some people off because I'm not going to do just whatever everybody else does. So it's always just exactly what I think it is.
Where was Manny Cristobal ranked? I mean, Mario Cristobal.
Manny Cristobal.
33.
Okay. All right, yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
It's good.
He still could get it together. Like, I'm not,
I'm not going to
see what happens.
Hammer the guy for one season, but that season was, man, I get into this conversation and debate with the guys over on the Miami channel, and I'm like, I understand your defense of him is that he's coming in and just tearing everything down to the foundation and building it back up, but do you really, when you inherit a top 15 roster, do you have to just be god awful? Like you can't do anything with that? Like while you're building?
The conversations this time last year where it's best quarterback in the state, best wide receiver core in the state, best running back room in the state, best offensive line coach, best offensive line in the state, best secondary. Like when you're literally like, this is what the fan base was saying, but then once games, as we used to love to say, games got to get played. Once games got played, it was we got to build it. Manny had some of these bad guys in. We got to get rid of these people. And now you need to rebuild it. Before it was, we're winning. I mean, when they were retweeting they're the college playoff dark horse. I just want the consistency, and that's it. If now they're rebuilding, then fine. That's what we're gonna give you now. But like, I just feel bad for the players because they're going to be. I think they're on the 4th OC in 4 years. Some of these guys, they're on the 3rd DC, and these DCs and these OCs. And one of my friends, Derek Nicholson, he's getting in this situation where, like, yo, you just got there like 2 weeks ago. You got to install and get to develop relationships and recruit. All the while, look for a house, move your family. And I mean, I know that's part of the business, but it can't be easy.
Nope.
I'm going to make one other defense for my 22 ranking after I see some comments in the chat. Understand, everybody in the chat, you're a Florida State fan. So just understand you're automatically biased. So to a certain extent, even if you're trying to cut it straight. Number 2, also understand, hey, I think I'm on record here for 200 shows that I'm pretty impressed with Mike Norvell, but it's one season. It's one season, and they played really well. They beat some good teams. They didn't really beat too many good teams after LSU. Like, they pretty much beat who they should beat. It was a tremendous season. He inherited crap. He had to totally flip over the roster. He did a lot of awesome things, and he's still in the process. But yeah, if he backs that season up with something similar or better, I think most of us expect better, then yeah, he's going to skyrocket.
Yeah.
He skyrocketed from last year. Like, I didn't have anything to go on last year, except I kind of think this guy's doing some good things there, but it really hasn't shown up on the field. I don't know where I had him last year. I had him in the 40s somewhere.
Yeah, there's no longer an excuse for Mike Norvell of, hey, well, we're still figuring things out. I got to fix the locker room and got to get some more of my players in the room and in the door. You've got your transfers. You've got your recruits now going into your 4 seasons. Got all this talent back. You got your best defender back. You got your best offensive player back, and a lot of really good ass other players on both offense and defense coming back. And you were able to retain them, a lot of help to the NIL side of things. Now, if you prove it, then you can jump into those top 15 rankings and Mark's Mark's rankings,
Yeah,
the ones that
sure,
matter the most.
sure.
Maybe even creep in top 12, maybe. I mean, just depending on what Florida State can do this season. But yeah, it's a lot of you got it now. You got it now, Mike. Prove it on the field, man. So you got to win these ranked games. You can't lose those. And I think he knew that, and I think the team knew it. But no more excuses this time. We as a team, us as people covering the team, you're expected to win these now. So and that's how it should be.